Let's get into the Real Housewives of Dubai. The third episode of the new season just aired. Don't cross the Carolines. All right, guys, if you aren't watching Dubai, I don't know what to tell you. They are bringing the glitz, the glam, the storylines are moving along. We see all cast scenes, we see one on ones. We're learning a little bit more about the culture there. This episode, we also meet a new housewife. So that's a lot of fun. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, definitely do so. I cover housewives, Bravo loves, Vanderpump Rules, some good pop culture tea. And yeah, subscribe and let's get into the new episode. So, right off the top of this episode, we get into what's going on between Caroline and Sergio. Caroline Stanbury, she's so funny. She gets Diana's former, and that's Princess Diana's former hypnotherapist to figure out why Stanbury is micromanaging Sergio, what happened in her formative years, why is she so controlling. They talk about how Caroline Stanbury attended boarding school. From this discussion, it seems like for British kids attending boarding school, it's like the norm. Like for a lot of them, this is a very real thing. Your parents keep the pets, but then they send the kids to school, away for school. They talk about how she's basically like emasculating him. And last recap that I did, I talked about how he's basically joined at her hip, and her ex-husband was away doing business meetings. She took care of the kids, whereas the relationship dynamic between Caroline and Sergio, it's very strange. Yes, they have an age gap. He's like, I don't know, I think like 16 years younger than her, something like that. But he's super clingy. And I don't really know what he does. He apparently used to be like some sort of a soccer player before. But the life that they live, there's no way you could live off of that. But anyways, this was an interesting scene. And then he kind of like walked in on the ending of her session with the hypnotherapist, and then they kind of like get into it and talk about it. I don't know. The man is super clingy, and this issue comes up later in the episode in a more public manner, which does not go well for Sergio. So we move on to Caroline's, what did they call it? I forgot what they called it. Their moving party, but let's be so freaking for real. It's really her eviction party. And we get a all cast scene celebration party. And this is where we meet the new girl. So this is pretty much our first exposure to the new girl, Saba. She is Sarah Al-Madani's business partner. Sarah, in her confessional, uh, gives great reviews about her business partner, Saba, how she is, I guess, of Pakistani descent background, super smart. She's basically like a scientist, good with the numbers, just Sarah Almadani has like the best things to say about her business partner, Saba, who we meet at Caroline Stanbury's party. I gotta be honest, she didn't get a good edit. When Chanel Ayan walks into the party, and you guys know Chanel Ayan, it doesn't matter if you are going out to play tennis with her, if you are grabbing an iced coffee with her in the middle of a very hot Dubai summer's day, Chanel will show up in like the most extravagant costume. It's not an outfit, it is a costume, darling. So Chanel Ayan walks into the party, and Saba is like, I forget verbatim, but she was something to the extent like, oh, those people, like differentiating herself between, well, yeah, between herself and those people, the likes of Chanel Ayan. I hate to break it to you, honey, but when it comes to Dubai, unless you are an Emirati like Sarah Al-Madani, you cannot get citizenship in Dubai. So when Saba says something like, "Oh, those people," it comes across extremely elitist. I'm better than you. You can't sit with me vibes. At the end of the day, in Dubai, Saba and Chanel Ayan are technically both expats because you cannot get, like I said, you can't get citizenship in places like Dubai. Only the Emiratis are their true citizens. So both of these women are technically in the same box if we look at it that way. So I don't know if Saba's just coming in hot or this is her demeanor, this is who she is, but she is a fiery one. Now, this is where we get a group scene with the ladies, Sans, Caro-Line, Brooks, because this is where Stanbury is like, oh, by the way, guys, I actually called Brooks, I think it was like earlier in the day or the day before, and Stanbury uninvited Caro-Line Brooks. So Stanbury uninvited Caro-Line Brooks, and in Stanbury's case, she doesn't feel comfortable having Brooks around since Brooks apparently called Stanbury the C word. See you next Tuesday. And this was when in the last episode, Taleen had her party, and we saw Brooks. She clearly had one too many to drink, and that was not a good look on her. And then in Brooks's confessional, she's like, "Oh, I don't care. I don't need to attend that eviction party." We see how Brooks is. Lesa Milan walks in later on, and Lisa's just like, guys, like, if we take a look at all of our friendship dynamics, Brooks is the common denominator in like stirring the pot, which, yeah, Brooks is a little messy. So I think her friend who Stanbury is staying in, I think his name was Michael, I forget, but he does a nice toast and he is just so happy to kick them out. And then Chanel Ayan had like a really funny line where she's like, "Oh, I guess this man doesn't want to like save anything for his retirement. He just wants to spend all his money on Stanbury and Sergio because I guess this was like a pretty grand party in his backyard from what it seemed like." And the picture isn't very good, but it's basically a boot kicking out Sergio and Stanbury. So to Brooks's point, yes, this is very much an eviction party. Now, this part was a little sad to see. At this party, they were talking about like, oh, what's the worst thing you could like say about Sergio or something to that extent. And then Caroline Stanbury's daughter, who is going off to college in the States, she said something like how he's like clingy. And obviously, Sergio, he did not appreciate that. And like shortly after, we could see how sad the guy got. Like you could see the expression on his face. And I don't know, maybe he was trying to like hold back a tear or two. We even had a scene between Sergio and Sarah, and it seems like they truly are like good friends, like, bro, sis relationship. Um, I don't know if she's just, I don't know, trying to, what's the word? You know what she did to Chanel Ayan, where she lended her shoulder to Chanel Ayan, but then she, I guess, crossed her after the season. I don't know if she's going to do that to Sergio or if this is like a legit relationship, friendship between Sergio and Sarah. But they get into the whole how he's like crying on her shoulder, not literally crying, but like crying on her shoulder, how he's upset about being like clingy and like he doesn't like what the hypnotherapist said and he's just like all in his emotions and like I feel kind of bad for the guy, but it's kind of like you're part of the problem. This is how you positioned yourself, so now you got to deal with it. And then at the end of the party someone pushed him into the pool, which was honestly kind of embarrassing. in a way, he kind of like emasculates himself. So it's kind of like, I don't know, man, figure it out. Now, we get a really cute scene between Lesa Milan and her mom. Guys, her mom is so gorgeous and her mom looks so young. And I think she said they're from the Caribbean or they're West Indian. So definitely some good genes. They talk about how her mom stayed in the relationship longer than she would have liked to. Lisa Milan opens up about how her dad had a second family that they learned about later on, how for a couple years, I guess in her teenage years, she didn't talk to her dad because, the whole second family and all that stuff. And, Lisa's spilling the tea about what happened at the party at Stanbury's eviction party. And then they continue the chat about Lesa Milan's mom potentially moving to Dubai. But like, look, Lesa Milan's mom is what, in her 50s and her 60s, probably in her 60s. And, I'm sure she has a routine in Miami. She has, she's used to the Miami life. It's not like she's moving from one state to the other state where it's like, okay, in a couple weeks, couple months, you'll move from like one state to the other state. No, she's literally like, if Lisa Milan's mom does end up moving, she's like moving across the Atlantic. And it's going to be just like a totally different country, a totally different culture. Now, I do like the fact that they visit Old Dubai, where they really showcase to us the culture. We see them going through the markets, and Lisa Milan's like, I'm not a tourist. Like, I actually live here. And then she's like bargaining with the shop owner. So this was like a super cute scene. This was like, I feel like some of the most realist, rawest interaction we've seen on the show. At pretty much anytime we see the housewives interact with their kids, talk about like their family life. I feel like this is when we see like the real, true them. So Sarah's like getting her hair done. She has a double date later in the evening. So she's like, hey, like, make my hair pretty, whatever. And while she's getting her hair done, she's having a chat with her kid about, going on a date and stuff. And it was kind of sad because the kid is like how he just wants someone who is nice to him and buys him toys. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, like, what was Sarah's second husband like? And on the show, they actually show Sarah's big, big Emirati wedding and clips from her second wedding, I'm going to assume. And it just seems like her second husband didn't treat her kid very well. So for us to hear her kid say that, that was quite sad. And the nice thing about Sarah, it seems like she's done all the healing. I don't want to hear any more about healing. Just like go and do. You know what I mean? Like enough healing. Just like go about your way now. Like let's find you a man. Chop chop. So she talks about going on a date with Daniel. And then in her confessional, I like how she kind of breaks down what dating is in the Arab world. And of course, she's going on a double date with Daniel, the man Taleen introduced Sarah to at her party. And yeah, dating in the Arab world is like you're about to get the ring and marry this person. So instead of dating, she's kind of saying like, it's not really a date, like it's a date but it's not a date, we're just like hanging out as friends, because at the end of the day, like the show is going to air. And I mean, I guess later down the road in this season we do get introduced to a man she's seeing right now. But so far she's like letting us know how dating works in the Arab world and what this dinner is between the four of them. So Sarah finally gets to her date. She meets Taleen and Taleen's husband. Taleen looks very like, I don't know, very feminine, very pretty in the white outfit. And then Sarah even calls herself out. She's like, "Oh, I just came like I just look like I came out from like a war zone." And to me, I'm thinking like, "Girl, you spent all that time getting your hair done, and then this is the outfit you wear." And I do think how a person presents themselves on a date, it says so much. They're either like one step in, I mean, both feet in, or one step out. So I'm seeing it as Sarah is, before she even got to the date, she's already one step out. Now, I gotta say, it's not looking good for her date, Daniel. The man is late. Why is this man late? That's never a good look. Unless it's like production. Unless they're like, oh, let the three of them sit down, get some apps, get some drinks, and then you walk in. So whatever, the guy's late. He apparently speaks Arabic, but then Sarah's like, he doesn't speak proper Arabic. And I'm thinking, like, Sarah, Daniel clearly is not from the region. I think he's like American or European or something. The fact that the man knows how to speak Arabic, that's like, you got to give him props for that. But, anyways, to me, this just seemed like a TV date. And it was a little two faced of Sarah because on the date, she was like, oh, yeah, he's great, blah, blah, blah. And then in her confessional, she's like, no, like, just no. Okay, so we end off this episode with a coffee meeting between the two Carolines. Dun dun dun. They have a standoff. I'm kidding. So Caroline gets there and she's waiting around, and I love how Bravo, does like the showcases the time. How Caroline's waiting 26 minutes, and then Caroline Brooks finally gets there, and I think Brooks was like, "Oh, I'm more important than you." Like that's how she's, I don't know, trying to be. And then Brooks walks in. She's talking about the opening of her new salon, spa business. And I'm kind of glad that Stanbury calls her out. Like, yeah, we all got things to do. Like, between all the contractors Stanbury is dealing with, her kid, one kid going off to college, her new man who's very clingy. Stanbury also has a lot going on. So for her to, get there, I don't know what traffic is like in Dubai, but her to, commute to this coffee spot, wait almost half an hour on Brooks. It's just like when people are late and they don't like really tell you, I feel like it's so disrespectful, but I feel like that's, I don't know, probably what Brooks wanted to showcase. So whatever, they get over the fact that Brooks is late. And then I like that this cast, they are at least willing to meet up and have conversations and like keep things moving, or at the very least try to keep things moving. So, this is what we have here. Brooks is still mad about the comment Stanbury made about Taleen's hoo-ha at the Beyonce concert. But Taleen got over it because Stanbury in that first episode was like, well, I was just like making a joke, like it wasn't that big of a deal. And Taleen, who is Brooks's longtime friend, got over it. But for whatever reason, Brooks is like mad, mad. And Stanbury Stanbury wasn't friend with Chanel, Ayan, and Lesa, but Stanbury is now friends with Chanel, Ayan, and Lesa. But Brooks is mad because she's like, I was a soldier for you, like I was loyal. And it's like, Brooks, who told you to be a soldier? Who told you to be that loyal? Like, are you really that mad that Stanbury is now friends with Ayan and Lesa? It's very confusing. I still do not understand this beef. I don't even know if Stanbury understands this beef. I saw a recent interview with Caroline Stanbury because they're doing like press for Housewives of Dubai. And obviously, this show was filmed like at least a year ago. And Stanbury is out doing press right now. And even Stanbury's like, if someone can tell me, I'd like to know. It's like why Brooks is so mad at her. It's just like very strange. So before we end off this recap, I do have to say this third episode for the second season, it was a series low for this franchise, just over 300K live viewers, which obviously that's not a good thing for a show like this. Like, I don't really know what the issue is. Is it because Bravo didn't properly promote Real Housewives of Dubai, or they kept the season on shelves for too long and people are disinterested in the drama? I do have to say, this season is way better than last season. It's just a shame that Bravo originally had it on Sunday nights after Real Housewives of New Jersey, and then they switched it over to Tuesday nights. So that's great. You know, we have a new Housewives show and a new day to look forward to. And now it seems like on their socials, Bravo is trying to promote Dubai. Like, I remember seeing it on Bravo's Instagram where they had like new time for Real Housewives of Dubai Tuesday nights. I really hope the show doesn't get canceled. The season is picking up. The women are all interesting. I'm enjoying all of them. Taleen is great casting. The new girl seems a little mean, but like, whatever. I want to get down to the bottom of what Brooks is so mad about. They better have a reunion. And yeah, that's the tea on Real Housewives of Dubai. That's the recap. That's also my rant. You guys, if you're not watching it, chop chop, get into it. With that said, guys, I cover all things Bravo, Housewives, Vanderpump Rules, and some, good pop culture tea. Definitely subscribe to Bravo Hot Tea. Try to get your girls to 1,000, please and thank you. With that said, I will catch you all later.